The Chicago Bulls are off to one of their best starts in the last 5 years, and they're doing all of this in a way that's much different than we were expecting. And I'm going to explain that on today's episode, where we're going to talk about the Bulls and the actual defensive effort that's being made on this team and how it's actually being led by Tre Jones. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, we're going to be diving into a little bit into the mailbag as well and previewing today's game against the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to get into all that and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And the Bulls are off to one of their best starts in 5 years. Now, I mean, what's the start really? The Bulls have, I want to make it through the first 2 weeks of the season, not because Coby White's gone, but a 6-game sample size is a really solid sample size, I feel, for teams. Overall, I'm going to be waiting until the first 10 to 15 games to kind of really evaluate where this team stacks up versus where the league is. I think that's a nice sample size in regards to every team around the league once they're around 10, 15 games, somewhere between that to get a feel on where they are. But no doubt about it, the Bulls' start is still impressive, right? And it's made more impressive by the fact that, throughout the first 2 games of the season, they basically did it without a combination of 3 of their key players, right? And by that, I mean Coby White and Zach Collins were both out, so far in the season. They're both, going to be missing some time. And then in the second game against the against the Orlando Magic, the Bulls didn't have Modest Buzelis at all in that game. They just basically, Modest Buzelis was a non-factor in that game because of the foul trouble, right? 12 minutes, so you have that. Like, what the Bulls have been able to do and do it by committee has been hugely impressive. And more so that they're doing this without Coby White. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit because a lot of people have made and asked the question on, all right, how will this team look without Coby? And, for the people that are trying to say things like, oh, well, the Bulls look better without Coby because of X reason. I got something that's actually we're going to factor into that, right? But a big part of one of the ways that the Bulls have surprised this season is Tre Jones. Tre Jones has been great. He's already making that deal look like an absolute steal of value of a contract because of how Coby White's been playing. And when you look at what Tre Jones is making, he's making $8 million per year, right? A flat contract as well, no raises on that contract. And even despite being one of the lowest paid Bulls on the team, for example, right? He ranks 3rd in net rating for the team, 1st in plus minus, 3rd in true shooting percentage, right? And he leads in both assists and steals through 2 games as well, right? Through the first 2 games of the season, Tre Jones is averaging 12.5 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals. He's shooting 53% from the field and 66% from three-point range is Tre Jones. He's come in here now, having him as a secondary playmaker has already paid huge dividends to this Bulls team, right? And so looking at how Detroit tried to keep the ball out of Josh Giddey's hands. Now, Josh Giddey still did finish with a very nice assist number, but early in that game, it came down to Tre Jones and his playmaking, right? Against the Orlando Magic, a lot of that came down. Tre Jones had more assists, right? And a lot of that came down to them trying to still take the ball out of Josh Giddey's hand. You have that secondary playmaker on the team as well. Like that's great. And Tre, and when people say things like, "All right, well, why is Tre better than Coby in this role?" or whatever they try to say, Tre is doing a very similar way to what Coby White does. He leads the team in drives, right? He is driving 18 times to the bucket per game. Now, Coby is going to shoot more than that because he's a more natural shooter, but that is also how Coby White creates is through drives. Now, Coby is not the passer that Tre Jones is. I'm just more so talking about the style of offense and how they are simulating it, right? As of right now, Tre Jones is 5th highest in drives per game in the entirety of the NBA. Again, through 2 games, it is what it is. But he also leads the league in passes and assists, right? That's what Tre Jones is doing. So what Tre Jones is doing for this Bulls on offense has been great. But then it's even more important on the defensive side of the ball. And this is why I said that Tre has literally came in And I get why people are Okoro and Lonzo looking at that comparison. Keep in mind, us also moving Lonzo allowed us to keep Tre Jones, right? So you have to look at it that way as well. If we kept Lonzo Ball, Tre Jones would not be on this team. So freeing up that, even if you look at the Okoro at right now, rightfully so, as not necessarily the best move for the Chicago Bulls, the fact that we're able to keep Tre has been huge to that. Let's talk about this, right? The Chicago Bulls right now lead the league in defense. More on that in a second, which is hugely surprising. And when you look at Tre Jones' impact on the defense, it's been just as much as impact on the offensive side of the ball. Tre Jones guarded Desmond Bane straight up in the majority of that game. And I was coming into that wondering like what that matchup was going to look like, and he did that. And Bane scored 14 points of 7 of 12 shooting against Tre Jones. And while that's, a efficient night, it's not a great night as far as the number of points that he scored, right? And so Tre Jones leading the point of attack offense and the point of attack defense. Tre Jones has been instrumental in how the Chicago Bulls have played basketball this season. Now, Coby, we know, is not the defender that Tre Jones is. So when Coby White does come back, what does that mean for the Bulls? And we'll talk about the balance, because I have one key area that I want to talk about Coby White with that team, right? But listen to what I just said. The Chicago Bulls are leading the NBA in defense. They are first in defensive rating, third in points overall allowed, third in opponent field goal shooting percentage, fifth lowest in field goals made by opposing teams, right? And by the way, as well, the Bulls are only allowing, it comes down to it, 20% from three-point shooting. Let me fact check myself on that one. That seems super low. Is that right? Did I get that right? Like what are we talking about here, man? It's crazy right now what the Bulls have been able to do as a defense. And I gotta give some credit out for that. And I was actually 20.8% three-point percentage of the Bulls allowed. Now, they faced off against the Orlando Magic, which are a notoriously bad three-point shooting team, and that brought that average down a little bit. The Detroit Pistons aren't necessarily the best three-point shooting team either, right? So I want to get into that. But outside even the three-point shooting percentage, right, the Bulls are 12th in turnovers forced, so it's top half of the league there. They're 6th in overall point differential, and they have the 5th best overall net rating in the game of basketball at plus 7.1. And the thing that makes that stand out so much is that the Bulls are doing that while being 29th in offense in the entirety of the league. Yes, I said that right. Let's get back to that. The Bulls, who had one of the best and most high-powered offenses in the league last season, right? Their offense has been basura to start off this season. The Chicago Bulls offense has been terrible to start off the season as far as efficiency, as far as overall results. They've not been good at all. And I think that's sometimes missed by people around this team. They're 29th in offensive rating, which is not good at all. They're 25th in points scored per game, which is not good at all. They're 17th in true shooting percentage, which is pretty damn solid considering the other things. They're 28th in three-point attempts, which is not where the Bulls were last year. They were towards the top of the league in three-point attempts. They're 24th in three-pointers made. They're 11th in three-point percentage just because they're not taking a lot, so shout out there. And we're 16th in field goal shooting percentage. What does that mean? The Bulls, everything that the Bulls did well last year, they're 2 games in, they're towards the bottom of the league as far as offensively. Fast break points, 17th. Not really great there, right? You look at the free throws attempt, they are 11th in there. We're averaging over 30 free throw attempts per game, which for this team compared to what they did last year, that's actually a huge number. Now, where we do excel at, 8th in rebounding, 8th in assists, which is really good as well. And we're right outside the top half of the league in turnover percentage, which considering that the Bulls, are averaging a lot of turnovers per game, that's pretty good when it comes down to it. So the Bulls right now are doing it through their defense. And considering the offseason message has been so much built around the defense and physicality of the Bulls, but we're missing some of that offensive punch, right? And that's where Coby White returning to this team can actually help this team. Now, are they going to take a step back defensively? Yeah. I mean, let's see what we do through the first 10 games defensively anyway before we say that the Bulls are going to have a defense that is going to be this good consistently, right? But, yeah, you may take a bit of a step back off defensively. But if you take a step forward offensively, the net stays about the same, right? And it's not like Tre Jones is going to fall out of the rotation when he's there. It's not like Isaac Okoro has had one solid defensive game and one terrible defensive game. So it's not even through our individual team defenders. Now, Io's been pretty consistent. Patrick Williams has been pretty consistent through 2 games, right? So you're still going to be playing those players as well. But the fact that the Bulls have started off and defense has been the standout, whereas our offense, the pace isn't what it was. The fast break points aren't what it was. The 3-point attempts aren't what they were. Or getting to the rim more, which is helping us get to the free throw line more. This is definitely a team where the offensive focus has changed a little bit. And I don't think we've talked enough about that, right? So this team, here's the thing. I trust the team that's missing an offensive piece like Coby White to get better offensively more than I would trust a team to get better defensively as the season goes on, right? And so, yeah, you're going to take, like, Coby is not the defender that Tre is. He's not the on-ball defender, the point of attack defender. He's not any of that Tre is. But he's a much better player offensively, and I think you have to. That's going to open up more lanes for other people, and you're still going to get Tre Jones minutes as well, right? And so the bench unit, the defense, the fact that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of our offensive upside, I think those are all things that really stand out solidly about this Bulls team so far. And we just got to see how far they're going to be able to take it, man. With that said, there is a game tonight. The Bulls do take on the Hawks today. And I'm not going to get into heavy analysis team versus team until we get about 10 games in. I have a whole new overlay I'm going to use when we're comparing team statistics and stuff like that. But 3 games in, I'm not going to do a lot of comparison, but I am going to give some numbers, right? The Hawks are coming into this game 1-2 after a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Despite the Atlanta Hawks focusing on defense a lot this offseason, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, drafting Nathan Newell, bringing in Kristaps Porzingis, right? They are 23rd in defense to start the season through their first 3 games, right? They've played one more game than the Bulls. They're also towards the bottom of the league as far as offensive efficiency as well. The Atlanta Hawks is just not being a good team on offense or defense yet. Now, they are working in some pretty big new pieces. You got Jalen Johnson and those guys back as well, right? So I want to be clear, like, this is just to talk about coming into this game, not to talk about the Hawks, overall and what their outlook's going to look like this season, because I do think they're going to be a pretty solid team this season. But this is a team that has not yet caught their rhythm. And because of that, that's where the Bulls can definitely take advantage. Now, for what it's worth, Zachary Richard, Jalen Johnson, and Kristaps Porzingis are listed as day-to-day, right? They're all questionable for today's game. So we'll see how the Bulls take advantage of that or not. But the Bulls got to lock in this one. They have to lock in big time. And I want to see this team attack, especially defensively. If you can disrupt Trae Young on this team, it really disrupts their entire offense. Say what you will about Trae. Guys know I have my feelings on Trae Young, but he still is the hub for this team offensively. He, after several years of averaging double-digit assists, is only averaging 7 per game right now. So I want to see the Bulls take advantage of this Hawks team that is still finding their way. Now, the Bulls are still very much finding their way, and we're dealing with our own injury concern as Josh Giddey is listed as questionable for this game as well, right? And we're already missing Coby. We're missing Zach. Zach Collins. So, that is what it is, right? But there are definitely areas that this Bulls team can take advantage of this Hawks team. This is a team that was slated to come in here and be much better defensively. That has not shown itself consistently yet, but that potential is still there, so the Bulls cannot overlook how good this team can be defensively, and we'll see what they give for that, right? And don't overlook the fact of the defensive versatility of this team too. They have already the rookie Asa Newell, who is averaging 14 and a half minutes per game for this Hawks team, has already shown his ability to guard multiple positions. They have Nickeil Alexander-Walker as well, who can guard multiple positions. Dyson Daniels, another player that can guard multiple positions as well as cause havoc in those passing lanes. For a Bulls team that's already turnover prone, you got to watch that Dyson Daniels matchup, because you cannot allow him to get the Hawks easy fast break points and completely disrupt your offense for the entirety of the game. So those are things to look at for in this game overall for the Bulls. But this should be another fun Eastern Conference matchup for the Bulls. The Bulls haven't faced a Western Conference team yet, but a good matchup for the Bulls in the East, another team that is projected to be a playoff team in the East. And let's see if the Bulls can get to 3-0. If they can't, okay, no harm, no foul. You're going to lose one eventually, but we will see how the Bulls play in this matchup, and I'm excited for it. But you guys can let me know your excitement for it down below. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the voicemail bag for the portion of the day. We had a lot of overflow from the weekend, 3 voicemails. This one's from Dre.
Yo, what up, Haize, man? This is Drake, man. Hey, man, bro, I ain't been calling in a minute, but I definitely been watching, bro. Hey, look, I just got on watching the Magic game, so I'm recording this shit on Sunday. So, yeah, man, we handle our business. But look, though, Haize, look, I ain't trying to get too delusional, though, bro. But I feel like I knew this shit, man. I said that. Like my prediction, I don't even give a fuck at this point. I feel like we can realize be a top 5 team in the East. I'm being dead ass because if you go through and like to pick some of these teams, to be honest, don't see some of these teams being better than us, bro. For real. Like what we got going on is something special going on, bro. And like we really building on something. So that's how I feel about that. And then look, I wanted to say this about P. Will too. So I feel like P. Will play better when there's no I ain't gonna say restrictions, but there's no objective, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know, we'll say objective, but now that he's like the 10th man or what, the 10th man off the bench or something like that, 10th, 11th man, he ain't pressured to to live up to the starter hype. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he played better when playing off the bench, and I feel like that's where he should be at. His role is better like that. Okay, if the starters ain't a little slow, he can get in with the second unit. I feel like he better like that. I don't feel like we should put P. Will back in the starting lineup personally, but that's how I feel on that. And then something else I want to just praise you real quick though is, hey, I've been following you I want to say fairly since you started your channel. I don't like the other Chicago Bulls channels is because exactly what you said, bro. They too negative, bro, and that irritates me. I don't like to watch people bash the Bulls, bro, and that irritates me. Like if it's rightfully so, then that's that. But I feel like we've been building, bro. We've been really moving towards a good direction. We got a lot to complain on, but what they've been showing us, man, they working. They actually, putting some shit together. So I feel that's the difference with you and all the other Chicago Bulls platform, and that's why I fuck with you, and that's why I say you number one, and bro, you grinding, so I feel like you gonna get there because that shit is annoying, bro. I don't want to keep. Oh man, every time the Bulls come up, they got something negative. So damn, bro, man, we working out here. But man, that's what I want to say though, man. Lock in, see red, bro. Hey, and I'm calling it. We gon' win until Coby get back, and then when we get Coby back, we gonna win some more, bro. So, bro, I'm gonna keep watching. Love.
Can the Bulls be a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference? Here's what I'll say. I think that the connectivity of this team and how this team actually does play as a team, it does seem like a very special team as far as sometimes you have those teams every once in a while that just what they do together as a unit, they overachieve from what you would look at this team to do when you look at the individual pieces. Can the Bulls say that? Yeah, I think that they can be that team, but I think we need a good 15, 20 games before we can say that for sure, right? They have the makings of that, and the bones of that are there. And I feel confident in it because that's kind of how we finished the season last year as well. But I need to see that 20 game sample size before I say 100% sure, right? I agree with you. P. Will has been very solid coming off the bench, and I think that the expectations are removed. He's still not living up to the $18 million contract. He's still not living up to being the 4th overall pick. But at this point, we're 6 years removed from that. Just come out here and I want to see Patrick Williams own his role. So like you said, being the 8th, the 9th guy coming off the bench, own that role. And as long as you own that role, okay, good. You're playing well in your role. Everything else isn't going to change. The money's not going to change. You can't renegotiate a contract in the NBA, so that's not going to change. His draft position isn't going to change. He's always going to be a former 4th overall pick. But I'm not worried about what you were. I'm worried about what you can be now in this role for this team. And P. Will, through 2 games, has played pretty consistent in this effort, right? And that was always the thing about P. Will. The statistical output, that may not stay the same, especially when you're a role player. But I think the thing a lot of Bulls fans want to see from P. Will is give the consistent effort. Don't fall asleep. Let us not forget that you're out there. And through 2 games so far, P. Will has done a really good job at that. And let's just see how it plays off going forward. But great voicemail there, Dre. Thank you for calling in. Let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Shay.
What's up, Haize? This is Shay. Look, I'm going to say something to all the people who want the Chicago Bulls to tank. Because I've been watching a lot of things, a lot of reporters that say, "Oh, the Chicago Bulls 2 wins. Y'all should try to lose to get you a top overall pick like Boozer or one of them." Let me tell y'all something. And Haize, I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about the Bulls fans and Bulls analysts that want us to lose and I think we should try to lose to get a top pick. Y'all are about as stupid as a motherfucker. Look here. Nobody should want to lose, you dumb son of a bitches. Look, I think the Bulls should make the playoffs, try to make the playoffs and not the play-in because let's face it, if you think about signing Coby White, I'm pretty sure Coby White ain't trying to waste his time years waiting on a top 3 overall pick. Another thing, what was the point of you signing Josh Giddey? He's a winning playing style point guard. Of course, he wants to make the playoffs. So for all y'all that's not wanting us to make the playoffs, y'all are just about as dumb as a box of rocks. Look, I know a top pick could help, but goddamn, you see what the Memphis Grizzlies are doing with Cedric Howard. You see what everybody is doing with these lower bottom tier picks, and you see a lot of teams, they're improving. Sometimes it's not just about getting that right player, but getting that right continuity. You stupid, dumb motherfuckers. Haize, look, I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant, but it's just starting to piss me off about some of these stupid, dumb analyst motherfuckers who think the Bulls are not in a good spot or just should be tanking at this point. Damn, they dumb as fuck. But yet you see them want to push the Lakers, who don't even look good without Luka, or you see them want to push a Boston team who look worse than us. Anyway, tell me what you think if you decide to read this. Peace.
Bulls fans that want the team to tank are, here's the thing. I kind of understand what they're getting at. Like for their logic, I understand where that's at, right? And keep in mind a lot of the the fans that want to see the Bulls tank also are people that are like, yeah, we should have let Josh Giddey walk for nothing. We should let Coby White walk for nothing. Like those type of people, right? Very weird and strange people. Now, I do think you calling them bitches, Shay, is a bit strong, bro. Like that's a bit strong and wild there. But I do think that overall, I get what they're trying to get at, but when you have a team, my thought process always on tanking is that tanking doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't work. The Philadelphia 76ers tanked for almost half a decade, and one player from that stuck around in the NBA. One. Now, it was Joel Embiid, and he's great when he's on the court, but then look at his injury history, right? So, I think that there's something about ethical, just going out there playing, let the chips fall where they may. But then also when you have players that are on your team that you plan on being there long term, you don't want to set a precedent and early on, winning isn't the most important thing. Like the Bulls are trying to go out there, grind out, and win every single game. And they're going to do that. That's what they're going to do. For anybody that's hoping for a covert tank or anything like that, it ain't coming. This is a Bulls team that is going to be trying to win basketball games. And I, for one, I commend that personally. All right, let's get into the last one, man. This one's from Corn.
What's the word, King Drip? It's your brother Corn, man. Hey. Hey, man. To all the callers, man, that felt the way about Coby, man, me saying about Coby, man. Hey, it's just how I feel, and I'm going to stand on it. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to go back and forth with nobody about it, man. You know what? I want to talk about the win. Okay, we just want a huge game. So I'd rather talk about that than to go back and forth with a player that's not playing. When he's playing, then we'll cross that bridge and we'll talk all that shit about Coby. All right, cool. But let's give it up to the guys that is playing, the guys that is in the game right now, and the one guy I want to give love to right now. And I ain't really speak his motherfucking name, but he showed the fuck out. That is Tre Jones. Hey, Tre Jones, bro. Tre Jones. You was out there playing winning basketball, King. I'm going to say it again. Winning basketball. I'm sitting up there, bro, looking at you, bro, looking at the game, looking at you playing the point of defense, bro. Hey, man. What? That's insane, bro. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and the most important one of all, 5 motherfucking steals. 5 motherfucking steals. Winning basketball, man. Winning basketball. And shout out to you, Tre Jones. Now let's talk about another player. I'm always going to give up to him when he's doing great. I'm going to have to dial back and sit back and say, it's okay, Modest. This is a learning experience for you, young one. I look for you to bounce back real heavy against old boy. You know what I'm saying? We already know. You know what I'm saying? Over there in the Hawks, you know what I'm saying? I got you going over 25 this next game, man. You know, just take this as a learning experience, young lion, and understand that these things gonna happen, man. You gotta play smarter. You just can't have that many fouls, man. You're too important, man. And you will learn from this, all right? Because I believe in you. Matis Buzelis. All right, King Drip. Hey, man, appreciate you. Love you like always, bro. Peace. Blessings.
Man, shout out to Corn there, man. He's I think that Corn take a good approach on that, right? Is that looking at, like, let's see what it is when Kobe's been like. Here's the thing: for all the people that are like, well, Coby White's going to hurt the team, we're going to see, right? If Coby White does come back and we see a drastic drop off in the Bulls' performance, or at that point in time, have at it. Have your narratives about Coby White, but wait and see, right? I've always have this standpoint, and I have this with the Bears too, is that when your team's winning, why try to look and blame a player on the team that is also a teammate of a winning team, right? Like, why do that? Let's wait and see. And should be nothing wrong in waiting and seeing with what Coby White does. For people that have concerns over, how much of the Bulls play and the positive is going to be affected when Coby White comes back, let's wait and see. And then once you have the data to actually show it, then nobody can deny your narrative, right? And I think that that's an important part in all of this, right? And so we'll see what Coby White can bring. But like I gave in the first segment, looking at the Bulls' offensive numbers, you can't tell me that Coby White can't help in that. And I think that for whatever you're worried about for a perceived drop-off, we shall see, right? But to Corn's point, the people that are on this team and playing, these are players that are out there competing. And Modest, I do think, is going to have a bounce-back game, but he's going to have an important defensive matchup. And I do think eventually they're going to try to put Nickeil Alexander-Walker or Dyson Daniels on Modest if he gets going. But I'm not worried about the point per game total for Modest. I don't care, if he scores 20. I care that if he contributes to winning. And that's really what I care about. And we shall see what happens with the Bulls and in the game tonight against the Hawks. But until then, that's my time for today. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.